Hello everyone, welcome to Students Point. This is 7th of July and today we have to see 10 important questions, so be attentive and be focused till the end. And if you are finding my videos useful, don't forget to like the video and share the video with your friends and loved ones. Also don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that you receive the notification every day and learn and grow every day. Let's move ahead. But first you have to answer one question in the comment section. The question for today is, which is the longest train ever to run on Indian Railways? These are the options. Read the options carefully, then answer it in the comment. Let's move ahead. The first question now. India's external debt at the end of March 2020 was approx. So it was approx US dollar 558.5 billion. So here B is the right answer. And it was in news because RBI has recently published data on India's external debt at the end of March 2020. And there is an average increase of US dollar 15.4 billion over the last year, that is till end of March 2019. And the commercial borrowings, we are going to see some important points in this findings of RBI. Commercial borrowing remained the largest component of external debt with a share of 39.4% out of the total borrowing, followed by non-resident deposits, that is deposits by NRIs, which accounts for 23.4% of the total. Then at the third rank is short-term trade credit, which accounts for 18.2%. So remember the top three shares, which are at first is the commercial borrowing, at second the deposits by NRIs, and at third is short-term credit, that is 18.2%. And at the end of March 2020, long-term debt with there are two types of debt. The first one is long-term debt and the second one is short-term debt. Long-term debt is always useful for the government because if you are getting loan for longer term, you are getting more time to repay it back. You are getting enough time to invest that money which you have borrowed and earn interest from that money, earn profits from that investment. Thereafter you can easily return back that money. So government always try to, every government, not only Indian government but every government tries to get long-term debt. So by end of March 2020, long-term debt was 451.7 billion US dollar out of this total 558.5 billion US dollar of total debt. So you can imagine that the percentage of long-term debt out of the total. What is long-term debt? These are those debts whose maturity period is above 1 year. Means government has got the time for at least 1 year to repay back the interest and the principal amount of this or such long-term debts. And this marks an increase of 17 billion US dollar over previous year, that is March end of 2019. And US dollar denominated debt continue to be the largest component of India's external debt. This means to say that India takes loan in US dollar or US currency, that is in dollar, which is almost 53.7% of the total debt. So if there is a statement that India borrows 53.7% of its total external debt in dollar, then that statement is correct. While the second largest share in which we take or borrow money from external market is Indian rupee. Why we borrow in Indian rupee? See, whenever we borrow in Indian rupee from external market, the cost or the risk of currency fluctuation or the fluctuation in the prices of currency is borne by the investor or entities which is giving us loan, not by the entity which is borrowing the money. That is why Indian companies always try to borrow money into Indian rupee and not in any other foreign currency, because if you borrow in foreign currency, there is always fluctuation. So whenever there is fluctuation in the prices of currency, you have to borrow that cost. But whenever companies borrow in Indian rupee, the cost of price or fluctuation in the price of currency is borne by the investor and the entity which is giving us the loan. And the borrower wise classification, if we look at, then the general government, which includes central government as well as the state governments, has decreased. So debts of general government has decreased, but debts of non-government sector has increased. This shows that private sector is getting more lending from external market and general government is trying to decrease its lending from external market. Next question now. The 6-member board for recruitment set up by Prasar Bharati is chaired by, so it is chaired by Jagdish Upasane. So here A is the right answer. And for the first time since it was established in 1997, Prasar Bharati has set up a board for recruitment of thousands of programming, engineering, transmission and other executives up to the level of directors. And let's have some more information about Prasar Bharati. Prasar Bharati is the public service broadcaster of the country. It is a statutory autonomous body established in 1997 under Prasar Bharati Act. It is headquartered in New Delhi and it conducts public broadcasting services intended to inform and entertain public. It comprises Doordarshan Television Network, All India Radio, which were media units earlier of Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. Today it got delayed in uploading the video, that is why I am in bit hurry. I hope everyone is getting what I am explaining today. Let's see the question. Friends of Police Initiative in news recently was launched in which state? So it was launched in Tamil Nadu. So here C is the right answer. And Friends of Police is a community police initiative that aims to bring police and public closer. It was started in the year of 1993 in Ramanathapuram district of Tamil Nadu, and recently it was in news because services of Friend of Police has been suspended in Tamil Nadu because recently there was a case of violence against a father and son by Friends of Police which resulted into death of duo. Let's see some more examples of community policing. Jan Maitri Suraksha project in Kerala, Joint Patrolling Committees in Rajasthan, Meira Pebi in Assam, Community Policing Project in West Bengal, Maitri in Andhra Pradesh are some other famous examples of community police initiative. I have marked here too because these are two unique names, so in exam they may ask it. Meira Pebi in Assam and Maitri in Andhra Pradesh. Next question now. Consider the following statements about International Comparison Program. It is the largest worldwide data collection initiative under the guidance of UN Statistical Commission. This statement is correct. And the goal of ICP is to produce PPPs, that is purchasing power parities, which are vital for converting measures of economic activities to be comparable across the economies. This statement is also correct. So here both of these statements are correct. So C is the right answer. Now what is PPPs or purchasing power parities? See, you must have heard the news of fluctuation in the price of rupee in comparison to dollar. So prices of rupee fluctuates in comparison to dollar and other foreign currencies as per the demand and supply of rupee and demand and supply of dollar. However, that shows only the exchange rate. While in purchasing power parity, there is a different of conception. The conception is, or the concept here is, that it compares the cost of living in a country. You can simply understand in simple words. Let us suppose that there is a citizen who is living in US and that person wants to buy half liter of milk. Suppose he is going to buy half liter of milk. For that half liter of milk, he has to pay $1, let's say. And if a person residing in India wants to buy the same amount of milk with the same quality, that is half liter of milk, and with the same quality with same brand, let's say, and the amount which that person which is residing in India has to pay is called as purchasing power parity. So suppose the person who was living in India gone to a shop and buying a milk with same quality and same quantity as well, that is half liter, and he had to pay rupees 20, let's say. Then here the purchasing power parity will be rupees 20 for $1. I hope you understand, because in rupees 20 we are getting the same amount of goods with same quality in India what a person who was residing in US was getting with $1. So I hope everyone got this concept. This shows the cost of living in a country. So you can imagine that at present exchange rate at present is around rupees 70 for $1. I am telling it in approx, it might be up or down, but exchange rate is always higher in India because it shows exchange rate or the value of currency based on demand and supply of rupee as well as currency and change in international markets as well. However, PPPs is always lower in India because cost of living in India is cheaper than United States. And it was in news because the World Bank has released new purchasing power parities for reference year 2017 under International Comparison Program. And globally, 176 economies participated in this cycle of ICP. India has also been participating in almost all of the ICP rounds since its inception in 1970. And the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation is the national implementing agency for India, which has the responsibility of planning, coordination, and implementing the national ICP initiatives. And the purchasing key findings of this report was the purchasing power parities of Indian rupees as per US dollar at GDP level is now rupees 20.65 in 2017 from 15.55 in 2011. So in 2011, purchasing power parity was 15.55 for $1, but now it is rupees 20.65 in 2017. Remember that the data is for 2017, and the exchange rate of US dollar to Indian rupee in 2017 was 65.12 from 46.67 during the same period. That was from 2011 to 2017. So you can compare the difference between exchange rate and the purchasing power parity. You can simply understand that it is nothing but it shows the cost of living in a country. And in 2017, India retained its global position as the third largest economy, and it accounted for 6.7%. That was $8,051 billion out of the world's total 1,19,547 billion of global GDP in terms of PPPs, as against China, which accounts for 16.4%, US accounts for 16.3%. So this is the rank in terms of PPPs. So in terms of PPPs, India ranked third. And next question now, Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter is a moon mission of, so it is a moon mission of NASA. So here D is the right answer. And the mission has been in operation since 2009. The mission particularly focuses on moon's poles to search for water or ice that could exist in permanently shadowed craters. It was in news because recently miniature radio frequency instrument, which is aboard Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter spacecraft, has observed evidence of greater quantities of metals such as iron, titanium on the moon's subsurface. Next question now. Consider the following statements about winter diesel. This question is again very important, so be attentive. It is a specialized fuel especially for high altitude regions and low temperature regions where ordinary diesel can become unusable. This statement is correct. Winter diesel is used in places where the temperature is very low, particularly in areas of Ladakh and high altitude areas where it is very difficult to use diesel. And it contains additives to maintain lower viscosity by enabling the fuel to remain fluid in such conditions. So it can be used in vehicles. So here both of these statements are correct. So C is the right answer. And regular diesel fuel contains paraffin wax, which is added for improving viscosity and lubrications. At low temperature, this paraffin wax thickens or gels, which hinders the flow of fuel in the car engine. What is paraffin wax? It is just soft colorless solid derived from petroleum, coal or shale oil that consists of mixtures of hydrocarbons. It was in news because recently Indian Oil Corporation has sought approval from Directorate General of Quality Assurance for the use of winter diesel by armed forces for operations in high altitude regions like Ladakh. This type of fuel was introduced by IOC in the year of 2019 for high altitude regions. Next question now. Consider the following statements about bubonic plague. Bubonic plague. It is a rare but serious bacterial infection transmitted by fleas from rodents. This statement is correct. Remember that this bubonic plague is infected or being transmitted to others by bacteria, not by virus. So this statement is correct, and it is a zoonotic disease and it can be transmitted to other animals or humans. This statement is also correct. And remember that this bubonic plague can be transmitted from one person to other persons as well. So here both of these statements are correct. So C is the right answer. And it mainly results from the bite of an infected flea. And it may result from exposure to the body fluids from a dead plague infected animals as well. and it is one of the 3 plagues caused by a bacteria called as Yersinia pestis. Remember the name of this bacteria? This Yersinia pestis spreads 3 kinds of plagues. The first one is bubonic plague, and the others 2 include septicaemic plague and pneumonic plague. Remember these 3 names: bubonic plague, septicaemic plague, and pneumonic plague. And according to WHO, it can kill an adult in less than 24 hours if it is not treated in time. However, we have several antibiotics which can easily treat this disease. And there are several severe symptoms of this plague, which includes swollen lymph nodes, which can be as large as chicken eggs, in the groin, armpits, or neck. They may be tender, warm, and other symptoms include fever, chills, headache, fatigue, and muscle aches. And it was reported in 14th century as well, when it was called as bubonic plague. It resulted into Black Death in Asia, Europe, and Africa. And during that century, it caused almost death of 50 million people, which were around 25% to 60% of population of Europe at that time. It was in news because Bayanur, Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region in China, has announced level 3rd warning of plague prevention and control after a suspected case of bubonic plague was reported there. Next question now. What is the limitation on the strength of Council of Ministers at union level? So there is a limit of 15%. Only 15% of the members of Lok Sabha can be members in Council of Ministers, not more than that. And prior to January 1st, 2004, which was the date on which 91st Amendment of the Constitution came into effect, after that date, Prime Minister had no discretion to appoint any number of members in Council of Ministers. Before that, any number of members can be appointed into the Council of Ministers based on the recommendation of Prime Minister by President. However, 91st Constitutional Amendment Act restricted this discretion of Prime Minister, and this Amendment Act added a clause in 75th article, which was clause A. It added that only 15% of the member of Lok Sabha can be appointed into the Council of Ministers. So remember this article, Article 75(1)(a). Similar provision was added in the Article 164th as well, which deals with the number of Council of Ministers in a state legislative assembly, that is for 15%. This provision was in news because recently Congress party has alleged that strength of Council of Ministers in MP has exceeded the prescribed limit and is in violation of Constitution prescribed strength. And if you have not liked the video yet, do like it and share the video with your friends and loved ones. Next question now. Nekar Saman Yojana has been launched in, so it has been launched in the state of Karnataka. So here B is the right answer. And Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa has launched it for weavers community. Weavers community, to get benefit from this scheme, has to enroll themselves into Seva Sindhu Port, and those enrolled will be eligible to get rupees 2,000 of financial support. So I hope you find the video useful. Do like and share the video, subscribe and press the bell icon. Wait for the upcoming video. Until then, stay at your home, stay safe, and thanks for watching.